I have been having a lot of fucking interface with what Ryan Sterner calls the fallen demonics, or that which is rejected by the infernal divine. Now, 90%, I'm going to say a good upwards of 90% or greater of all possession cases where there's exorcism involved, these are dealing with Christian spirits. These are dealing with entities that are rejected by Lucifer. They are rejected by the infernal divine. They're cut off from the void. They're cut off from the black sun. They're cut off from whatever what was their principal spirit. They've been cut the fuck off, and now they're slowly dying. They're in their death throes, and they gotta latch on to other witches, devotees, to feed off of them. There's multiple reasons why they target devotees and other witches. Simply because, first things, that they're very, very close. They're very close. They're the closest person in that area. They're the person opening up the tunnels of Set, opening up these astral gates, and opening up to these dimensions and other things like that. So they're going to be the first opportunity that they see. Second, they can be placed there by the enemy. They can be placed there by Jehovah, who is a fallen demonic himself. He is the chief archon of the fallen demonics, who betrayed the void. He betrayed Lucifer, betrayed the first trident gods, went off to create an entire universe without the blessing of hell, without the blessing of Hecate Sophia, and now that we live in a fallen timeline and a fallen matrix. Before we continue, I'd like to dedicate this short video to Eros, as I will be sharing her invocation later on. So, what these entities like to do, they like to latch onto the spine and they attack one of your chakras. Most likely, they like to target the heart center, the heart chakra, or the heart energy center. And because when they get plugged into your spine, that gives them access into your brain. That gives them access to your thoughts. They can poison your entire tree. Now, the brain stem in the brain, it literally looks like a fucking tree. If they can get into that shit, they can fucking inject thoughts and things like that. And I was one of those people. I had a problem. I had an interface with these fucking things most of my entire life. And what they'll do is they'll inject thoughts that are just really bizarre and really just shit you would never do. They would tell you to do things that you would never do. They give you unwanted thoughts. They give you blasphemous thoughts against the patrons and the divinities that you work with. But their biggest tactic is spiritual gaslighting. They like to scare the shit out of the devotee through anything. Panic attacks. If a devotee does weed or smokes drugs and doesn't know that he has an entity problem, well, he's going to find out very, very quickly, because that shit gets amplified, and that's why you get the bad high and you feel like you're getting attacked. Can I control my own body? Is something else controlling me? And this fucking entity will go in there and it'll fucking do everything in its fucking minuscule, pathetic, small power, small dick energy to convince you that they are the real Lucifer, that they are the real Hecate, that they are the real Pan or Set, they are the real God that you're working with, and that your God is angry with you, that your God or goddess is angry at you for some reason, and that the object of your devotion has turned against you and it's attacking you. its biggest goal is to break devotion. It wants to cut off, it wants to get is like a middleman. It wants to be a barrier between the devotee and the object of devotion. Because it fucking knows that any person who is self-actualized, either working with their own spirit or working with the various beings of power out there, once they make that permanent connection and they got that strengthful connection, nothing can get in the fucking way. They're unstoppable. So, really what I think I'm dealing with is a ladder types of fallen demons, not the ones that are like cut off from the Goetia or cut off from the Black Sun or anything, but one of the demiurgical or Jehovian fallen demons that was sent by the false light, that was sent by Jehovah himself to stop me from being a Satanist, to bring me away from Set, bring me away from the Black Sun, bring me away from the numinous, to basically, what it wants to do, it wants to scare me back in the church. And it has tried. It didn't fucking work. So I think what its tactic turned now, it's trying to cause as much damage as it can, either mental damage, physical health damage. I've been having a lot of cardio symptoms over the past week, where I would just have like chest pains, palpitations, and like sometimes the pain would go up into the sides of my neck, like the jugular vein area. I'm seeing somebody about this. I have a cardiologist appointment. He's very good. My own doctor goes to him, so I'm seeing a super cardiologist this Tuesday. So we're gonna figure this out. But long story short is another thing it does too. It likes to sit on people. It likes to sit on them and stop them from astral projecting, so that when they astral project, they hit a ceiling. They just hit like they hit like a pocket void, and they get thrown back in their own bodies. Now, what this feels like is I would astral project, and it would just be all black, crushing, it would just be just all black, and it felt like I stopped breathing for a moment. And I asked, like, yo, Robbie, I just had sleep paralysis, and I stopped breathing for a minute. And my friend tells me, he's like, that's probably because you just astral projected. So what these things do is they like to sit on you so that you cannot astral project, or that when you do astral project, you astral project into the entity, and it has and it controls your astral experience. So basically what this fucking thing does, it as a NASA Rose puts it, because I asked her about these things, she called it a plant. It's not really an entity. It's not even a demon. It's a thing that's planted by the enemy to basically act as a ceiling, to keep you away from coming to your source. Now, a lot of children of the Trident, they have this problem. There are a lot of potential devotees, children of Set, Lucifer, children of Hecate, that have this problem. They don't even know it. They were devotees in a past life or something like that, or many lifetimes ago, and they for some reason in this current lifetime, or they had other lifetimes, or they did not practice a craft, or they did something, or something opened them up to the false light enemy, and this false light enemy basically put like an energy cap. It put like a cap on them, a level cap. So they could not level up after a certain point. They couldn't reconnect to their divine origins. And this fucking entity, this fucking spirit, this fucking thing, I've seen it in a dream. It's very amorphic. It's got tentacles. It looks like that. It almost looked like that cosmic fucking like stone. Looked at that cosmic thing from the first Hellboy movie, where the Nazi was trying to summon the Orgru Jihad, and it looked like a giant, kind of like a Cthulhu or like a space squid made out of stone. It didn't have a face to it. It just looked like like a stony kind of like squid, and it's got tendrils on there to feed off its targets, and it's got various ways to. It uses its tentacles to get into your heart center, and it pumps in thoughts that are not your own. Fear, self-doubt, but gaslighting is its main spiritual fucking tactic. So here's what I did. Okay, now 9 times out of 10, those of you who are just having something trying to latch on you, you can remove it with your own power. You can just use it with your own magic. You can use your own magic to remove something. Now, if it's gotten past your aura and latched onto you, you need a little help with that. Christian exorcism, they have no power to them, and they're actually pretty dangerous. They can cause great spiritual harm. Like Ryan and Anasa was talking about in our last serpent sermon, that these types of exorcisms, when the person's convulsing and shit like that, the priest is actually driving the person's soul out of their own body. So it is actually killing them. That's why you convulse and thrash around like a doll, going into spasms, because you're actually dying. You are getting killed. You're getting much spiritual harm in that Catholic exorcism. So do not use Catholic exorcisms. You can perform exorcisms on yourself, and you will not go into convulsions. You will not go into spasms. You'll feel better almost immediately. So 9 times out of 10, even if you think you got a problem with this, you can solve it before it gets to the point where you need more spiritual help with it, where you need the help of divine intervention. You need one of the beings of power to step in and take control of the fucking situation. Or you can find a soul eater, like my friend there, and he'll eat the fucking thing off of you. Or you can find someone who practices Qigong, who has that much spiritual power that it's called spear fighting. It's literal spiritual fighting where you have such high energy you literally combat and pop entities and egregores and shit with your spiritual pressure. So there's multiple ways to deal with it, but I'll give you the first method that I use to deal with this entity, and I'll just straight up tell you this is not the same entity. It's a different entity. It's not the same fucking entity that my soul eater friend removed from me, devoured from me. It's not the same. It is a different kind of entity, but it's similar. It's got tentacles. It's kind of like Cthulhu-like, but this one doesn't have a face. It doesn't have eyeballs. Just gray. It's like a plan. So here's what I did. I got fucking angry. I got pissed the fuck off. I raised my spiritual pressure just simply by getting emotional, by getting angry. I told her to fuck off. That I'm not its fucking food. To get off my fucking spine, to get out of my fucking thoughts, get out of my fucking head, get out of my emotional body, stay the fuck out of my work and home life, stay out of my fucking life, period. You don't want it here. Then I got my ritual sword on the altar, and even add to it, I started swinging it around. And swinging swords and clubs and maces things actually does clear off your astral space. So those of you who like just use barbells or dumbbells or into exercise, do things that work, that's another reason not just to look into mace spells and things like that, not just for the physical benefits, but also the astral benefits and swinging clubs and things like that. The second thing that I started doing is I would do several grounding rituals, which I will share in another video. Then I would do the invocation to the compassionate ritual by Dr. Anton LaVey from the Satanic Bible. It does have a few blinders on it, which is why I will read it to you, the versions given in the text, and then I will read to you the version with my alterations and tweaks to it. The third thing you can do is an invocation to a higher power. So anything really you believe in, I don't recommend the Christian God, because that's literally the sun, you know, and the Nazarene is a thought form. So you're really summoning the thought form. At the very best, you'll get the sun, you'll get sun energy. At the very worst, you'll get the attention of the enemy, you'll get the attention of Jehovah, you'll get the attention of the false light. And they might actually like pull it off you, but they'll put another one back on you. They'll make you dependent on them. And that's what Christianity does. I mean, like, the Nazarene supposedly heal people and do all this shit in the Bible. He did all these, like, miracles and shit. He healed the blind. He healed possession. But did he teach? What the fuck did he do to teach about possession and about these health and spiritual conditions to begin with, so that people could take care of themselves? He taught jack fucking squat. He didn't teach people how to exorcise demons from themselves. No, he just did a miracle, waved his hand, and made them spiritually dependent on him. So that's why I do not recommend using the enemy. What's much more effective is you summon a power that's even more evil and wrathful than the thing that you're dealing with. I know it sounds like fighting fire with fire, but that's how magic works, okay? Evil to cast out evil. Pazuzu is a Sumerian wind divinity and plague divinity that specializes in this kind of spiritual warfare. And the ancient Sumerians, they make little figures. They place figures of them near their children's sleeping places to ward off Lamashtu, or Pazuzu's wife. And Lamashtu would be known to eat kids. Evil to cast out evil. So the second thing you do, I recommend you invoke whatever patron that you work with. So invocation to Hecate, invocation to whatever principal spirit that you're working with, or whatever divinity that you have on your altar, whatever altar you have set up and you're working with. So this now is really good. Not only is it a test, but it's also a good opportunity to increase your devotion. Now, I am going to share first the invocation to Eros from the Devil's Quran. Now, this is the invocation to the Nameless One, to basically the void as it's given in the Devil's Quran, but it's really the invocation to Eros. Okay, so I'm going to give two versions, and I'm going to read you the version from the Devil's Quran, and I'm going to read you what I used. Before we continue, they're getting angry, getting really pissed off, and telling it to fuck off. When you do this blaspheming, when you curse at it, cuss at it, you are changing your vibratory energy signature, and you're making yourself literally to a certain energy where that spirit or entity or Dybbuk cannot inhabit you. So you're making yourself unedible, you're making yourself uninhabitable, and 9 times out of 10, you don't need to invoke something greater than yourself. You can just use your own magic, and it goes the fuck away. So that's what I did. I felt better immediately. I felt a lot better. I didn't feel like I completely alleviated the situation. I felt better enough where I had enough breathing room, and then the next day we'll see how I feel. If I have to invoke something greater, then I'll invoke something greater. If I have to turn up the heat, turn up the anger, turn up the magic, then that's what I have to do. So that was last Tuesday, last Monday evening or Tuesday. I fucking told that thing to fuck right off. I felt better immediately. Okay, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, this is when is when I started turning up the heat a little bit. Because it didn't completely go away, but it didn't completely go away, so I had to turn up the heat. So, a Devil's Quran invocation to Eros. Invocation to the Nameless One. I'll give you the real invocation of Eros in a minute. So, it reads on page 71 of the Devil's Quran, I invoke you, author of all creation, who spreadeth your wings over the whole world, you the inexorable and immeasurable, who breathes reason into every soul. You who fitted all things together, firstborn of the universe, whose light is darkness, who shroud reasonable thoughts and breathe forth dark frenzy, clandestine one, who secretly inhabits every soul. You engender an unseen fire as you engender a secret fire as you carry off every living thing without wearying of torturing it. You who delighted in pain ever since the world came into being. You come and bring pain, sometimes calm, sometimes savage, because of whom men go beyond what is lawful and take refuge in your light which is darkness. You are hard, lawless, inexorable, invisible, bodiless, causer of frenzy, master of sensations and everything clandestine, dispenser of forgetfulness, creator of silence. I call upon you, unmoved by prayer, by your great names, dragon, abomination, adversary, unspeakable one, who is night bearing and night rejoicing, the nameless God in the depths. Now, so I read out of the Devil's Quran on Tuesday, but there's a couple things that I tweaked. Okay, I wasn't seeking out. In a way, I was, because we are dealing with the numinous itself. We're dealing something that's beyond all forms and genders. We're dealing with just pure divinity itself, just pure magic itself, which is chaos, which is void, which is in the absolute. So I read aloud, but I did change a couple things. I'm going to read to you now the invocation to Eros, as I read it, as I spoke it on the second day of my self-cleansing. I invoke you, author of all creation, who spreadeth your golden wings over the whole world. You, the inexorable and immeasurable, who breathes life-giving reason and joyous madness into every soul. You who fitted all things together, firstborn of the universe, whose light is darkness, who shroud reasonable thoughts and breathe forth dark frenzy. Clandestine one, who secretly inhabits every soul. You engender an unseen fire as you carry off every living thing, without weary of torturing and enlightening it. You who delighted in pain and pleasure ever since the world came into being. Come and bring pain, sometimes pleasure, sometimes calm, sometimes frenzy, because of whom men dare go beyond what is lawful and take refuge in your light which is darkness. You are hard, lawless, inexorable, invisible, bodiless, causer of frenzy, master of sensations and of everything clandestine, dispenser of forgetfulness, creator of silence. I call upon you, unmoved by prayer, by your great names, Eros, Eris, golden-winged one, torch-bearing one, night-rejoicing goddess, supreme dark goddess. The nameless goddess resides in the center of the absolute. So, it was pretty much 90% the same as what I first read from you, with just a few things tweaked. We added some more feminine spin on that to go towards the dark goddess who is the mistress of all of the worlds. Many, many names: Tiamat, Lilith, Hecate. But Eros is one of her ancient and oldest names. Eros and Hecate, which means, Hecate means she who works from far away. Eris is one of the aspects of Hecate. Golden winged one. She is golden crowned, and this deals with golden light. So this is also from this same invocation. The invocation Eros can be found in Tartaros, the Orphic underworld, in the Mysteries of Pythagorean Pentagram by Johann August Allen, Three Hands Press. I've read that book. It's on my same channel. So towards the very beginning, towards like the first third of the book, the invocation of Eros is given. So if you want to go read that with all its commentary, there you can go read the invocation of Eros. But this is very good prime creatrix energy. And she is beyond all the bullshit. She is chaotic. She does have a dark side. She does enjoy, taking souls and just throwing them into chaos, throwing them in the void, and just endarkening them, enlightening them to the true reality of consciousness. She's that dark mother who will just rip you from your fucking slumber, who will rip you from your ignorance and cast you into the real, essentially. Now I will share to you, you can add this into as well. It is Anton LaVey, love him, hate him. He did fuck up on a lot of things. He also got some things right, He fucked up with the Shem Ham Farash there, which is a name of the Demiurge, one of the Kabbalistic names of Yahweh. And he did ultimately do some good for the Black Lodge. There wouldn't be any Temple of Set. There wouldn't be... Satanism would still exist. These cults would still exist. They'd be much more hidden. But what he did is he brought some of this stuff to the public forefront and made it in a way that we would be somewhat tolerated by the normies. We're not looking for approval. We're not looking for, acceptance. But ultimately, he made some breathing room for the First Amendment that, that Luciferianism, Setianism, and Dark Lodge currents, and the dark paganism is at least somewhat obsessed, is somewhat tolerated. That you can be a Luciferian in the United States without having to worry about getting burned as a witch or some fucking retarded bullshit. So, invocation employed towards the conjuration of compassion by Anton LaVey from the Satanic Bible. It reads, "With the anger and anguish and wrath of the stifle, I pour forth my voices, wrapped in rolling thunder that you may hear. O great lurkers of darkness, guardians of the way, minions of the might of Thoth, move and appear. Present yourselves to us in your benign power in behalf of one who believes and is stricken with torment. Isolate him or her in the bulwark for protection, for he or she is undeserving of anguish and desires it not. Let that which bears against him or her be rendered powerless and devoid of substance. Succor him or her through fire and water, earth and air, to regain what she has lost. Strengthen with the fire and marrow our friend and companion, our comrade of the left-hand path. Through the power of Satan, let the earth and its pleasures re-enter his or her being. Allow his or her vital saltes to flow unhampered, that he or she may savor in the carnal nectars of his or her future desire. Strike down his or her adversary, formed or formless, that he or she may emerge joyful or strong from that which afflicts him or her. Allow no misfortune to allay his or her path, for he or she is one of us and therefore to be cherished. Restore him or her to power, to joy, to unending dominion over the reverses that have beset him or her. Build around and within him or her the exultant radiance that will herald him or her's emergence from the stagnant morass which engulfs him or her. Thus we command in the name of Satan, whose mercies flourish and whose sustenance will prevail. As Satan reigns, so shall his or her own name is as the sound. Name is the vessel whose flesh is of the earth, life everlasting, world without end. Shem Ham Epharash. Hail Satan. Now there's some blinders in here that I've detected. There's some things that I don't agree with in this invocation that can be changed to add further power and positivity. First blinder first, we're going to get rid of this. I do not say the Shem HaMephorash in my rituals there because I am not praising fuckway. I'm not praising fucking Yahweh. Even though these clowns are convinced that it is somehow a sin to say this special needs name of the special needs false creator egregore, that they're somehow being edgy and autistic. You're not. You want to cause harm to Yahweh, you would be saying it backwards. You'd be saying Sarof Mamesh, or you would use Nata Margatet, which is a tetragrammaton said backwards. So I use Nata Margatet, Hail Set, and plus it kind of rhymes too. They both end with set sound. So, you can also use this on yourself. Just replace him or her with I. Now, I'm going to read it for you as if I were doing this for myself. Okay? And you will hear the difference. And afterwards, I'll explain the blinders and why I changed it and why I say it the way I'm going to say it. With the anger and anguish and the wrath of the stifled, I pour forth my voices, wrapped in rolling thunder that you may hear. O great lurkers in the darkness of the Absolute, guardians of the numinous fire, minions of the might of Set, move and appear. Present yourselves to us in your benevolence in behalf of one who believes and is stricken with trials. Isolate me in the bulwark of your protection, for I am undeserving of anguish and desire it not. Let that which bears against me be rendered powerless and devoid of substance. Succor me through primordial fire, water, earth, and air, to regain what I have lost. Strengthen with the fire and morrow this friend and companion, the comrade of the numinous path. Through the power of Set, let the earth and its pleasures re-enter my being. Allow my vital saltes to flow unhampered, that I may savor the carnal nectars of my future desires. Strike dumb my adversary, formed or formless, that I may emerge joyful and strong from that which challenges me. Allow no misfortune to allay my path, for I am one of you, and therefore to be cherished. Restore me to power, to joy, to unending dominion over the reverses and obstacles that are beset me. Build around and within me the exultant radiance that will herald my emergence through the stagnant morass which I am currently wading through. Thus we command in the name of Set, whose mercies flourish and whose sustenance will prevail. As Set reigns, so shall my own name who has this sound. John Caprine is the vessel of the flesh, is as the earth. Life everlasting, world without end. Nata Margatet, Hail Set. So, a couple of things that we changed here. There's a couple of blinders here. I really don't like this line right here. Build around within the exultant radiance that will herald her emergence from the stagnant morass which engulfs her. So, what that sounds like, it sounds like he's engulfed, this person we're trying to empower is engulfed with like all this bullshit energy, whatever like that. Herald their emergence. So, why are we saying a present or past tense? Because all magic, you have to use a present or past tense. Magic does not know the future or like half tense. It doesn't know will be, it doesn't know want. You have to say it as if it's happening or already happened, which engulfs him or her. So you just like canceled out. You just canceled out up to this point everything that you were blessing, everything that you were giving them, the stagnant morass which engulfs them. Then you just negated it. You just canceled it out. So what I say instead of the stagnant morass which engulfs the person, we say the stagnant morass that this person is wading through. So it's not as negative. We disempower that negativity, and it sounds like this person is just wading through a swamp. Like he can see the other side already. He's so close to coming out of the other side. To regain what he has lost, that's also another negative kind of thing that might be considered a blinder. to regain what he has lost, to regain. We could change that. Succor me through fire, earth, and water to regain what is mine. To regain what is hers, regain what is his. So again, that's another way you could empower it. You could take the blinder off that. The earth and its three pleasures re-enter his being. Strike down his adversary, formed or formless, from that which afflicts him. That's a little bit too negative, so we could say that which is challenging him, it's not as negative, and it makes the person that we're trying to invoke compassion ritual towards more powerful. So the three main blinders there: regain, succor him through fire, earth, water, and air to regain what that person so that person can regain what is theirs, so I can regain what is mine. Strike down my adversary, formed or formless, so I may emerge joyful and strong from that which challenges me. Build around and within me the exultant radiance that will herald my emergence from the other side of the stagnant morass which I am currently wading through. As Set reigns, so shall his own name as the sound. John Caprine is a vessel of life. Is the earth everlasting, world without end, not to Margatet instead of the Shem Hampharash, because fuck the Shem Hampharash, fuck Yahweh. Not to Margatet, which is a tetragrammaton spelled backwards. Also fuck the tetragrammaton, it's the same shit. So not to Margatet, hail Set. And then I close the compassion ritual. And then usually what I do afterwards, like leave a small offering, like I could get like a beer or like a soda or something like that, or get some like pretzels or get some like sweet sugary cereal or like some candy or whatever, and just draw an X or a cross on the ground. Usually a cross to represent the black sun, the cross of Set, the crossroads of the devil. And just place those pretzels, just place something on the ground, and just pour the booze over it, and just while saying, thank you, Set, for all the wonderful work that you've done for me and that are doing right now. Thank you, and then just walk away. And what'll happen is squirrels or deers or foxes, any of the critters of the forest, any of the critters of Set will come and they will devour the offering. And you are feeding Set himself. When the critters of the forest, they come to eat your offerings, that is Set himself. That is Hecate herself. That is the spirit that you will offer to. That's how they work. They collect your offerings through their animals. So when you offer to the deers, or you offer to the foxes, or the hares, or the critters of the forest, you're offering to your divinity. And you're offering to the earth. So, if any of you are having an interface with fucking spirits or fucking fallen demonics, any of these fallen fucking Dybbuk demons that are either Jehovian or they've betrayed their principal master spirits and have been cut the fuck off, or if you just feel a little down, or if you feel like you're not doing so awesome or doing so great or anything like that, and you just want to bless yourself there, or you want to do a protection ritual for yourself there, you now have the compassion invocation. Also, the invocation to Eros is pretty good. I have another one for the same energy force. It's a little bit shorter. This is also from the Devil's Quran. Hear me, you are in the absolute, the void, the terrible, invisible, almighty Lord of Lords. You who flip the earth and shape the universe. You who love disturbances and hate stability, and scatter the clouds to one another. Your true name cannot be spoken aloud. Come and dwell within the chambers of your heart. Fill me with the holy black fire that ascends from your hidden throne. Fill me with the spirit that ascends from your hidden throne. I like to say, fill me with that primal fire that ascends from your hidden throne. A little bit more direct. Amen, amen, amen.